Think about the Arctic for a second. It's one of the most challenging, most extreme environments on the entire planet. Just this vast expanse of ice, snow, and relentless cold. And yet, for thousands and thousands of years, it's been home to a people who didn't just survive there, they became absolute masters of their world. This is their story.
So that really is the big question we're going to tackle, right? How on earth did they do it? This isn't just some story about barely surviving against the odds. No, it's a pretty incredible story of human ingenuity, of deep cultural knowledge, and just profound adaptation. All right, let's dive in.
Okay, first things first, let's get a really clear picture of who the Inuit are and the incredible scale of the world they call home.
The name Inuit is actually beautifully simple and powerful. In their own language, Inuktitut, it just means the people. And their traditional homeland, which is called Inuit Nunganat, well, it's not a single country. It's this massive territory that stretches all the way across the Arctic regions of what we now call Greenland, Canada, Alaska, and even parts of Siberia.
Today, the Inuit population is more than 125,000 people, spread out across about 40 different ethnic groups. Now, what's really remarkable about this is that even with these huge distances separating their communities, they all share a strikingly similar culture, language, and worldview. And that cultural unity across such a vast, tough landscape, that's a huge part of their story.
Now, a quick but really important point about names. You've probably heard the word Eskimo, but that's an old term that was given to them by outsiders, and today it's considered pretty offensive. The correct and respectful term to use is Inuit. It's the name they use for themselves.
All right, let's jump back in time. The story of the Inuit isn't something that happened overnight. It's this epic migration that took place over thousands of years. This timeline here gives us a fantastic overview. So the very first people came over from Siberia about 5,000 years ago. They were followed by what's known as the Dorset culture, and they lived all across the Arctic for millennia. But then, around the year 1000 AD, a completely new culture pops up in Alaska, the Thule. They are the direct ancestors of today's Inuit, and they just expanded across the entire Arctic with unbelievable speed.
Now, in Inuit oral history, those earlier Dorset people are remembered as the Tuniat. The legends describe them as giants, taller and stronger than the Inuit, but also kind of shy and easily scared off. For centuries, that was just a story passed down through generations. But then modern science weighed in. A huge genetic study back in 2014 confirmed that the Thule people, the ancestors of the Inuit, were a completely separate group. They moved in and totally replaced the Tuniat. So the key takeaway here is, this wasn't some slow merger of two groups. It was a complete population replacement.
So how in the world did the Thule pull off this rapid, continent-spanning expansion? Well, the answer really comes down to their brilliant technology and pure ingenuity.
Their toolkit was just a marvel of specialization. I mean, they didn't just invent these things, they perfected them for the very specific challenges of the Arctic. We're talking about advanced boats made from skin, like the kayak and the umiak, super sophisticated harpoons for hunting massive sea mammals, and of course, dog sleds for moving fast over the ice and snow. It all just perfectly illustrates their mastery of the environment.
I mean, just take the kayak, for example. The design was absolutely revolutionary. It was light, it was fast, and it was so well balanced that a hunter could accidentally flip completely over in the freezing water and then roll themselves right back upright. For hunting seals and whales in the Arctic Ocean, this was a life-saving game-changer.
And then you have the iconic igloo. It's so easy to just think of it as a snow hut, but it's an absolute marvel of engineering. This comparison really says it all. You could have temperatures outside dropping to minus 45 Celsius, but inside it could be warmed up to a pretty comfortable 16 degrees, just from body heat and a single small lamp. Amazing.
But you know, all that amazing technology, that's only half the story. Their success was also built on a really powerful social and spiritual foundation, which was every bit as crucial for creating a culture that could endure.
This traditional saying, it gets right to the heart of the Inuit worldview. It's not about conquering nature or dominating it. It's about maintaining a very delicate balance. It speaks to a world where every single thing, every animal, every rock, every gust of wind has a spirit. So this entire worldview was built on core principles that were just essential for survival. Animism, that belief that everything has a soul, it led to this profound respect for animals. They weren't just things to be hunted, they were seen as spiritual equals who chose to give themselves to hunters who were worthy.
And that philosophy carried over to the community, where sharing and cooperation, well, they weren't just nice ideas. They were the absolute difference between life and death.
And that sense of community, it extends to the land itself. In traditional Inuit culture, the idea of one person owning a piece of land just didn't really exist. The territory belonged to everyone, to be used and shared by the whole community, which pretty much made fighting over land completely pointless.
All right, let's fast forward and bring the story into the present day, because the last century brought just rapid, monumental changes to the Inuit way of life.
This slide really shows you just how abrupt that transition was. I mean, in the span of only a couple of generations, dog sleds were replaced by snowmobiles, igloos were replaced by permanent wooden houses, and harpoons were replaced by guns. This was a massive cultural shift in an incredibly short period of time.
But here is the most important thing to understand. Inuit culture is not a museum piece. It is alive, it's vibrant, and it's adaptive. Those core traditions are still there, their arts are flourishing on a global stage, and politically, the Inuit have achieved huge milestones in self-governance, like creating the territory of Nunavut in Canada.
A perfect example of this cultural energy is the movie Atanarjuit, The Fast Runner. It was the very first feature film ever made entirely in the Inuktitut language. It told an ancient Inuit legend, and it went on to win major international film awards, sharing their stories with the entire world on their own terms.
So after this whole journey through thousands of years of history, what are the key things to take away from all this?
The story of the Inuit is, more than anything else, a story of incredible resilience. It's a powerful testament to human ingenuity and to the strength of a culture that's built on a deep, respectful understanding of its environment. And that's true from their ancient origins all the way up to today.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. As our entire planet faces unprecedented environmental changes, what can we learn from a people who have spent thousands of years mastering the art of adaptation in one of the world's most sensitive and dynamic places?